Area 1 is a hand's breadth from the ear between the atlas and here. So it would fall here. So it's a zigzag back, hands on the horse. So around there you would cover it. Our V is going to be near the second and third vertebra, not near the top, not near the bottom. So starting about here, going down and up. She's really quite skinny, so it's really hard. Down and up. So starting from here, V, up, V, up, V, up, and down, watching for a reaction from the mouth. Good old girl. Next area is the collar groove. You can see I've actually marked it so you can see. So not going right to the top, but from here in a scrubbing motion down and stopping about there. We don't want to touch that spot there. The next area to check is our area in here. So we'd pick up that muscle and it'd be this area here. So just going up, rubbing motion, slight reaction, not too much. The next area to check, good girl, is up. Now you've got the muscle that's running down there. So it's just on the bottom of that in a flick and no response from there. Next point to check is your shoulder. So I've done a nice big square so you can see, and it would be sort of in the middle of that cross. And the point where we're looking at is pushing in the center of the shoulder. No reaction from her there. Good girl. Next area to look at, we're going to the wither, falling in the hole down here. So that's our start of our bladder. And then going up to our hip. How I got that was the top of the hip, back to the rib, and finger up the top. So there. So we're going to, so the area is going to go up on an angle there and down. And what we're looking for is the rib cage. So small movements and they start to sort of move on an angle from this position. And across on a small spot there. Good girl. No real reaction there. So we want to continue sort of down spots, equal spots down to the rump. And then from the rump, we want to go up in a zigzag, across to the back and down towards the tail. Good girl. Next area is your poverty groove. So it's like a flicking a match really fast. Pop your hand on the horse and really fast. No reaction there. You would see so on areas if you saw. So for instance, if I got to there and she reacted, I'd then sort of point and see if what individual reactions there were. There weren't really any individual reactions from her. The hip joint, I've been having a bit of an issue with. I thought the point of hip was where, but the actual hip itself is under here. So going around the hip area here, hand on the horse. This would be an area they would not like. Oh, sorry, sweetie. Okay, that's a good thing. So the next area here, she's really hairy. So this is the point of the hip. So we'd be not obviously wanting to, that's the top of the point of the hip. So we'd be feeling for the area underneath, just here. We obviously don't want to rub into that corner bone. So it's not, just it's sort of like a poking motion underneath the hip. And then across the top, which is just here. And then we'd be falling into a space in here. Good girl. Next area we're looking at is from the top of the rump down to the hip joint here. In two equal areas, we need to fall into these two holes. So starting from the top, we're going to go down, poke, and it sort of went up and down slowly, and then down and up. You can see the area here is going up and down. Good girl. Spot on the last rib. The last rib's only a small rib, Doesn't go all the way down like the others. So you'd be looking for a spot that's about here, and it's a sort of a rubbing motion on that last rib. Good girl. Last area to check. So we'd be starting hand on from the navel, working our way back to the center. No reaction there. Good girl. Go on the other side. And we'll move over. Good old girl. Well done. Haven't marked these spots, which is fine. We'll get rid of her hair. Oh, it's a bit dirty. Okay. So I do have to learn to do this with my left hand. So hand space from the ear. So we'd be looking at a space about here, 2/3 of the way from the atlas. So it'd be here. No real reaction there, except if she wants to rub me. Go away. Don't. Alright, so we'll do that again. Okay. Our V would start about there because they're looking for the second and the third vertebra, which is around between this area here. So we don't need to go all the way to the top, but sort of starting at that same position on a zig, zag motion down the middle, not up too high and not down to our area here. Next area is our collar groove. So we're aiming to go down to a point here. So it would be a bit higher than that, down to an area here. Good girl. Next one, you're looking for that muscle here, and it's just on the inside of that muscle there. You don't need to flick, or just a rub motion. That would be an indication of teeth. No response from the old gal. Next area is, you can feel like groove going down there, so it's actually under here. And this one is a flicking motion. Is it bad enough? What a good girl. Now shoulder. I've always been a bit backwards, so either been too far back or too far front. So you need to do a nice triangle, and it's actually the point right across the center, and it would be there. You sort of poke in and watch your mouth. Next from there, we're looking at a point from her wither down to so here, going on a 45-degree angle down to there, the bladder, and then the top here to the last rib and to our finger. That would be our line. It would be going on an upwards motion, like so. Okay, so from here, they're just short spots between the ribs, and then they're going on a bit of an angle across here. Her ribs don't go straight from the back. From there, we do need to follow it down, sort of across to this area here. And in which case we'd go down and then, so down here, then it would go up and then down towards the tail. Good girl. Next area here we're looking at is the poverty groove. Remember flicking the lighter quickly down that area. No reactions from her. Next is our hip. So I need to feel it's in there. So on a circular motion in here, no response from the gal. Next is underneath this area here. For that, it actually curves. There's a bony structure in here. So we're looking at just under that bony structure, just in here. And then above, on top. You fall into it, there's holes there. So poke, poke. Okay. Coming down from her rump, top of her bum to her hip joint, and then 2 equal areas, and no response there. Our last rib is quite high in his hair. It's down. It's only a small rib, so it's the middle's about here. It's to rub. Oh, it's a good girl. No response from that. And then the same thing underneath, going from